Tonight, signs of a breakthrough in the peace plan for Gaza. The pivotal points conditionally agreed to by Hamas.
This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down.
Plus, the U.S. president's warning to Israel. Also, Mark Carney eyes Washington, the agenda in anticipation of a critical second visit to the White House.
Mark Carney knows that sometimes the principal has to get into the room to close the deal.
And a baseball track that's still a big hit decades later. The catchy story behind a famous stadium song ahead of the Blue Jays' playoff run.
Let's play ball.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. We begin with a major development tonight in the Middle East and a potential step towards ending the war in Gaza. Hamas says it has accepted several parts of Donald Trump's peace plan, including releasing all remaining hostages. But other elements of the proposal require further negotiation. Prime Minister Carney welcomed the commitments from Hamas. In a statement late tonight, he said, "We encourage all parties to immediately work to turn commitments into reality and to advance peace and security in the region. We thank President Trump for his essential leadership." CTV's Judy Trin now on the response from Hamas and reaction from Washington.
War has decimated Gaza. Now, just days before the second anniversary of the October 7th attack, U.S. President Donald Trump said he believes Hamas is ready to negotiate for lasting peace.
Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down.
Hamas agreed to negotiate just hours after Trump issued an ultimatum to the terror group that all hell would break loose. As part of the plan Trump outlined earlier this week, Hamas would release all 48 hostages, 20 of whom are believed to be still alive, while Israel would release nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. On Truth Social, Trump says Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so we can get the hostages out, and that right now it's far too dangerous to do that.
He thinks that Hamas is serious, and he wants to negotiate with them. And so that's a very positive move, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on Israel right now.
Other parts of the plan include Hamas putting down their weapons and agreeing to turn over control of Gaza to a Palestinian body of technocrats. Israel would also agree to gradually withdraw from Gaza while a stabilization force led by Arab nations takes over security in the territory.
I think this is the opening salvo of a meaningful negotiation. Hamas has given up their biggest bargaining chip that Israel wanted, that they have.
Israel has yet to respond to Hamas's willingness to enter into negotiations under this new plan. According to the United Nations, in nearly 2 years of war, more than 60,000 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 2 million people are at risk of starvation. Heather.
Judy Trin in Ottawa. Thank you. The Israeli military intercepted the final boat from an international aid flotilla attempting to reach Gaza. More than 470 foreign activists were detained, including Greta Thunberg, according to Israeli police, with deportations underway. Protests erupted worldwide, with demonstrators demanding stronger sanctions against Israel. Flotilla organizers labeled Israel's interception of the ships an illegal attack on humanitarians, while Israel said the activists were not interested in aid, but in provocation. The Prime Minister is gearing up for another trip to Washington. Mark Carney is set to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday to try to find a way past the trade and tariff impasse. CTV's Abigail Beeman on the lead up to the second meeting at the White House.
Become the 51st state.
Mark Carney's second White House visit looming in a deja vu era of 51st state talk.
As long as this continued reference to the 51st state remains foremost in the president's mind, This is not an atmosphere that is going to make these type of negotiations easy, and it's something that absolutely enrages Canadians.
While the Prime Minister has been tight-lipped lately about any progress with the President.
Have you talked to Donald Trump recently?
Yes. A source tells CTV News Canada is cautiously optimistic the visit will result in lower steel and aluminum tariffs, but not autos.
If it's true, it certainly represents a breakthrough. But we have reason to believe that the United States is suffering as well from the steel and aluminum tariffs.
Both countries have launched consultations for the upcoming CUSMA review. In a rare public update, the top minister on the file told a Senate committee this week he's hopeful about a separate deal ahead of that.
We have been talking to them privately about the hundreds of billions of dollars of investment that just the Canadian pension funds alone, the Maple 8, the big, large pension funds make in the United States.
The same source tells CTV News Carney will emphasize those investments in next week's meeting, appealing to the president's love of big numbers committed by other countries.
Canadian Embassy is abuzz with visits and people reaching out and meetings. But maybe I think Mark Carney knows that sometimes the principal has to get into the room to close the deal. And I'm hoping that Mark Carney's trip to Washington to meet with President Trump will be about a deal and not just more conversation.
In addition to LeBlanc, the foreign affairs and industry ministers will be joining the Prime Minister on his trip to D.C. Heather?
Abigail Beeman in Ottawa. Thanks, Abigail. The federal government is backtracking on a decision to limit the number of Remembrance Day wreaths for MPs.
On learning that the changes could significantly disruptive to the Remembrance Day, I've instructed my department to revert to the previous format for this year.
Earlier this week, CTV News reported on the policy change based on an email from Veterans Affairs Minister Jill McKnight, noting that MPs requiring more than 2 wreaths would have to order them for $115 each at their own expense. In question period today, McKnight said she wouldn't be moving forward with those changes this year. Canada Post has presented a new offer to the Canadian Union of Postal Workers promising modernization.
We've also brought forward changes that will enable us to, put the transformation in place that the government has directed us to do so that we don't continue to become a drain on the taxpayers.
The proposal includes a 13% wage increase over 4 years, a defined benefit pension, health and post-retirement benefits, and a cost of living allowance. The Toronto Blue Jays are just hours away from playing in the American League Division Series against the New York Yankees. Fans nationwide are gearing up for the game and marking milestones along the way. CTV's Sean Leathong gives us a preview.
Making their mark on the field, the Rogers Centre is getting ready for October baseball, and the Blue Jays are preparing to face a familiar opponent.
And the Yankees have completed step 1 on their...
The New York Yankees beating the Boston Red Sox in their wild card series, now coming to Toronto for the first 2 games of the American League Divisional Series. As today is workout day and the Jays transition to postseason baseball.
It's nice to win the division, it really is, and it's nice to set yourself up the way you want to. But once you get in it, man, success is about winning.
And winning is something the Jays have done a lot of this season, winning 8 of 13 games against the Yankees this year, 94 games in the regular season, and a whopping 54 wins at home. Former Blue Jay Kevin Pillar says that everything, including nerves, can be magnified in the playoffs, but it's important for players to remember.
You really just kind of feed off the energy of the crowd. I always try to remind myself I worked a lifetime to get to this moment, to kind of just embrace it.
Now they hand the ball to ace Kevin Gossman for Game 1, who says the last few seasons have taught him what it means to play for Canada's team.
You know, there's extra pressure that comes with that, but there's a lot of love that comes with that from the fans, from, people who might never even see you play in person. But, that's just kind of the advantage that we have being one team for a whole country.
And it seems as though the whole country is focusing on the Blue Jays.
You can't walk anywhere from here to British Columbia right now without seeing Jays gear everywhere. So our players are more aware that there's a city and a country behind them.
And fans are coming from across Canada to Toronto for the series, like Rick Burton from Calgary.
It's Toronto on the name, but it's got the Canadian maple leaf on it, so it's Canada's team.
Or Adam and Jaden Lawson from Saskatchewan.
They mean everything to every province in the
in Canada. So they're our team. They're our boys. They're going to do it.
I don't know. We're just better than the Yankees. Always have been, right?
Despite having been divisional rivals since 1977, the Blue Jays and the Yankees have never met in the postseason. That will change at 4:08 tomorrow when the first pitch flies. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And fans will definitely be singing that tune at the Jays game this weekend. We find out how the catchy anthem came to be later in the show. Marineland is calling on Ottawa for emergency funding, or it says its whales will have to be euthanized. The Niagara Falls, Ontario tourist attraction says it is quickly running out of money to care for the beluga whales, and with no other sanctuaries or parks able to help, putting them down may be the only option. Marineland has asked the federal fisheries minister for money or help finding a new home. This after the minister denied a request to send the whales to a park in China. 2 Manitoba MLAs are speaking out tonight after their offices in Winnipeg have been not only vandalized but allegedly set on fire. CTV's Alex Carpa now with the message they're sharing.
Boarded up windows and a closed sign are what remain of Manitoba NDP MLA Nahanni Fontaine's constituency office in Winnipeg. It caught fire earlier this week, only days after the windows are smashed.
This is something that's going to be with us for the rest of our lives.
Fontaine's message comes after she was caught complaining about an ASL interpreter earlier this summer and also shared a controversial post on social media following Charlie Kirk's death. Fontaine says this type of violence is not normal.
It's a broader conversation on what we need to do to ensure that we are safe doing the jobs that we were elected to do.
And it's not just Fontaine seeing damage to her office, but so too is Manitoba MLA Bernadette Smith, whose office had several fires over the summer.
We've really had to be careful. It's really heightened how we do our jobs.
Some political professors say attacks on MLA offices are rare, but point out that political violence overall is on the rise.
It's not unusual these days to see politicians threatened with violence. And I would include arson as one of the things that we see as part of it.
Both Fontaine and Smith are the first First Nations women in cabinet in Manitoba's history. Some political experts believe incidents like this send a, quote, chilling effect for women in politics.
It discourages them from wanting to participate. And then the more that happens, we all suffer as a society.
Winnipeg police are now investigating the fire here at Nahanni Fontaine's constituency office and the other incidents at Smith's office, but did not confirm whether or not these fires were intentionally set. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. Combs was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. In an emotional address to the court, he said his actions were sick and that he was on drugs and out of control. The rapper also begged for mercy and apologized to his victims. Combs will get credit for time served, but will also have to pay a $500,000 fine. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited police headquarters in Manchester today following a deadly attack at a local synagogue on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar.
On behalf of the whole country, thank you for your response yesterday. It's a very humble thank you.
Starmer has promised to do everything to defeat anti-Semitism and protect Jewish people in Britain. 2 people were killed Thursday when a man drove a car into pedestrians, then stabbed victims outside a synagogue. Starmer's visit comes as British police say one of the victims was accidentally fatally shot by an officer as he tried to stop the attacker. Coming up, an alarming health issue in Canada.
We're doing nothing but increasing in obesity rates across Canada.
What's behind the rise in obesity across the country? Researchers at McMaster University and MIT have made a big breakthrough which could revolutionize the treatment of inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's. Canada has one of the highest rates of Crohn's disease and colitis in the world, with patients suffering inflammation in their digestive tract. Using AI, the research teams have been able to develop a narrow-spectrum antibiotic that directly targets disease-causing bacteria without doing damage to good bacteria. Weight can be a touchy subject, but one worth looking at for your overall health outcomes. If you're concerned, you're not alone. Most Canadian adults are now classified as obese or overweight, according to new data from Statistics Canada. CTV's Adrian Gabriel on why there's been a significant rise in recent years.
Canadians' waistlines are expanding at a new record pace.
We're doing nothing but increasing in obesity rates across Canada.
Pointing to pandemic-related lifestyle changes as part of the problem, released this week, this StatsCan report monitored Canadians from 2022 to 2024. It found that 68% of those aged 18 to 79 were classified as obese due to their body mass index known as BMI.
It doesn't factor in certain things. It may be underestimating, it may be overestimating.
BMI is a weight calculation that generally factors in the body index of a Caucasian male. Doctors say it rarely distinguishes if you're a man or a woman or from a different ethnic background with a different BMI cutoff.
There wasn't a day that didn't pass my mind like, oh my God, if you don't get this under control, you could die young.
At 5'2", Jennifer Isaac's weight recently topped out at 307 pounds. 4 years ago, her younger sister was hit by a drunk driver and died. Amidst the grief and stress, she turned to food.
It was just that comfort blanket. And even though we eat pretty healthy in our house, believe it or not, the weight just kept piling on. I think it has a lot to do with genetics, a lot to do with hormones.
The StatsCan survey also found that nearly half of Canadian adults have an unhealthy waistline, which could lead to serious health issues.
Type 2 diabetes, coronary artery disease, high blood pressure.
Isaac has taken control of her personal health. Losing 55 pounds over the last 6 months, she shares this message with Canadians.
Don't blame yourself because it can be a lot to do with health factors. I have post-thrombosis and endometriosis, but never ever beat yourself up about it because we're all human at the end of the day.
Doctors we spoke with say if you need to lose 5, 10, or 15 pounds, then hitting the track, the gym, and changes to your diet are key. For those who suffer from more severe obesity, medical intervention may be needed. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead, high anxiety in Alberta. How parents and students are dealing with a looming school strike in that province. Today might have been the final school bell for Alberta students for now. A teacher strike is set to begin on Monday, leaving students and parents in disarray. CTV's Kathy Lee finds out how those impacted are bracing for chaos ahead.
As this family enjoys the autumn air, Dad's mind raking through the logistical nightmare of Monday's teacher strike.
It's very stressful situation for us.
Delor Hussein's 5-year-old daughter Noseba goes to kindergarten. No classes means her after-school care inside the school will get shortened, conflicting with his work schedule.
I might talk with my employer if they can give me, I can leave a little bit early to pick up them, but I'm not sure about that.
The uncertainty also looms large for the more than 700,000 students province-wide facing disruptions to their studies.
Me and a lot of my classmates were really stressed out about all of that, and we honestly don't know what we're going to do.
This week, nearly 90% of Alberta Teachers Association members rejected the province's latest offer, which included a 12% wage increase over 4 years, along with funding for 3,000 new teachers and 1,500 education assistants. The ATA says it's not enough and confirmed Friday a strike will happen. In a statement to CTV News, the province says it wants to get back to the table to come to a fair deal for our teachers, and that it's up to ATA leaders to determine what supports teachers are actually looking for. Hussein supports the educators and urges both sides to come to a quick resolution.
That is my big worry, that it can take months.
The provincial government has pledged to redirect money not paid to teacher salaries during the strike to support families. Beginning October 31st, parents with children 12 and under would be eligible for $30 per day or $150 per week. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, an iconic song for an iconic team. A look at how the signature theme song of the Toronto Blue Jays was created. It didn't even take a full day for Taylor Swift to smash a record with the debut of her new album. That's a bit of the fate of Ophelia, the first track off Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl. The new music dropped at midnight, and 11 hours later, it had broken the record for most single-day streams on Spotify this year. Well, Jays fans will be singing a popular tune this weekend when the team takes on the New York Yankees in the first round of the postseason. OK Blue Jays has long been a rallying cry for players and fans. CTV's John Venevali-Rao met with some of the musicians who hit this anthem out of the park decades ago.
It's a staple of the seventh inning stretch whenever the Blue Jays play at home. A song that's been around for more than 40 years.
You got a diamond, you got 9 men.
And one musician, Jack Lenz, helped to compose in a single afternoon back in 1982.
And that's not all. Yeah, it was an afternoon, a couple hours.
Back then, Lenz and songwriting partner Tony Kosnick were asked to come up with a commercial to help market the Blue Jays to people who may not be baseball fans, which included Lenz and Kosnick, who'd never been to a big league game.
Neither of us were qualified to write that song.
Lenz says then Blue Jays executive Paul Beeston met with him and told the pair, when writing the song, to take into consideration the team was just 5 years old.
He didn't want to promise too much, so we could say they were okay. That was exact words. But fortunately, okay rhymed with Blue Jays, right?
They figured the song they came up with would last about a year, but it was released as a record that eventually went gold, selling more than 50,000 copies.
This is original.
This goes back to 1982.
Yeah.
Lenz showing us the sheet music that's now a piece of Blue Jays history.
You got the bleachers, you got them from spring till fall.
A song that featured the voice of musician Keith Hampshire.
A little OK Blue Jays.
Who says almost no one knows it's him singing the lyrics.
I go to the ball games now with my grandson, and when he was little, he used to look at me and go, "Is that you, Papa?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me, son."
Hampshire is a big Jays fan and pleased the song lives on.
Okay.
And like Lenz, hoping the team is more than just okay in the playoffs.
Let's.
John Venevali-Rao, CTV News.
Crack.
Toronto.
Some great history behind a catchy tune, and we'll be hearing it all weekend. That is our newscast for this Friday. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.